Yeah, definitely. It seems to really get to me for no real reason. Like I never buy any loot boxes or any of that on games, but
Mm.
it's just the fact that they're there really annoys me. Like I might
Yeah.
buy DLC if I know what I'm getting.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's a different kettle of fish, though, really. So,
Yeah. I mean,
mm,
I feel like if games weren't still at $60, if they priced things
yeah,
in a different way,
mm,
like maybe Call of Duty be more than, I don't know, some other like smaller game,
yeah,
something that needs the loot boxes to, keep up the servers or pay a bigger team of people, charge more. I mean, that's the law
mm,
of supply and demand anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
If you got I don't know, Hellblade is a good example. I always bring up Hellblade.
yeah,
With they had like what 12 people on their team, and then they charged $40 for their game. And it
Jesus.
was a well done, it was a well done, almost AAA looking game.
Hmm.
You know, that was fun, maybe a little bit broken, but forgivably so.
yeah,
Uh, so if we went to something like that where like people charged what they felt their game was worth, and maybe it would weed out some games that maybe people aren't so excited for, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. That makes sense.
So, all right. So over here in the US, we have ESRB, which gives all the ratings for stuff. I believe across the pond you have Peggy or whatever, right?
Who's across the pond?
You are? Anthony, you're in
No,
Australia, aren't you?
Peggy is Peggy's UK.
Is it? Okay.
Uh, yeah, we just use G, PG, M, MA, and R, which is I think it's Australian something or other. It's classified as. Can't remember what it is, but yeah, we use a different system to what the UK uses.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Ours is a lot stricter
yeah.
compared to other people or
yeah,
other countries.
I hear about the censorship over there a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so
Mm.
anyway, the various rating agencies of the world don't qualify loot boxes as gambling for
Yep.
the same reason they don't qualify, say, trading card packs as gambling, like your Yu-Gi-Oh packs of cards, your Magic packs of cards,
Mm.
Pokemon packs of cards, because you're guaranteed something where, if you were to go to the casino in a slot machine, you're not
You might
guaranteed a
not get
payout.
anything.
Yeah, you're not
Yep.
necessarily guaranteed a payout. But
I
with
guess I
these,
could
you are. So what do you guys think of that
Yeah.
argument?
I guess I could see the semantics, but I
Why
like
do
you
they have
go
to make gaming into a gambling thing,
Right.
right.
in my
Does that
opinion?
mean that I could go like start up a casino, and as long as like I gave everybody, a French fry for every time they bet, does that mean that I'm
Yeah.
suddenly not running a casino?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. Or I mean, if you
I
go to
mean,
Las Vegas, the casinos there, they serve you drinks as you're gambling.
right.
Mm.
So I don't know how that
Yeah.
if that qualifies it at all, but yeah. And so tying this all back around is that with the loot box drama that Battlefront 2 was having, it launched Belgium of all places to investigate loot boxes in gaming, and the Minister of Justice, which is an incredible title by the way, like that sounds like something
Yeah,
out of
no
Justice
kidding.
League. Yeah. Anyway, the Minister of Justice in Belgium basically released a statement saying, this is a really, really crappy thing to have in video games. It preys on the minds of younger children.
Yep.
So, and he wants them banned in Belgium, and he's already ready to petition the entire rest of the European Union to ban them in games also.
Mm. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Hawaii, is making a big stink too.
Yeah, I believe a
Yeah.
senator from Hawaii brought it up recently as well.
Yeah. I mean, even if you, want to play the semantics game with, whether it's gambling
Mm-hmm.
or not, uh it's it's something. There's something that like I wouldn't want my kids buying loot boxes. I
Mm.
mean, when they turn 18, if they want to go to a casino, they want to buy loot boxes, they want to, do that kind of stuff, more power to them. Like I'll go to a casino. My wife and I will take $20 a piece and we'll go to a casino, and if we walk out with nothing, then it was about as expensive as going to a movie in a theater. You know
Right.
what I mean? For
Yeah.
us, it's just another form of like bright lights and flashing music, flashing bright lights and music,
Yeah.
and entertainment. But there are people who have that personality that like,
Get addicted
I've
to it.
gotta, I've got, I'm this close. I'm this close. If I just had
Yeah.
like $5 more, maybe I'll hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, maybe even if they put it behind an age barrier in gaming, like if it ran off the Xbox Live, because that's got your age in it. If it ran off that maybe and it locked it behind 18-year-olds, for instance, or is it 21 over there for gambling, or is it
It's
18?
it's 18. Yeah,
18, yeah.
yeah.
it depends on where you
Uh,
go. If the casino serves you alcohol, you have to be 21. If it
Yep.
doesn't, then you have to be 18.
Yep.
Yeah. I know Oklahoma's just 18, but you definitely have to be able to show your ID for the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, put it behind an age wall. I'm down
Yeah,
with that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Same as what YouTube does or any of that.
Well, I mean, is
Right.
there
And
any
I
way to
mean-
verify an age wall? I mean, there's nothing that's like verifies it's like saying yes, I'm 18 on the internet. There's no one to verify that.
Right.
Or
I-
or it's like people asking you to put in your date of birth. Anyone can put in a fake date of birth.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if there was a way like on Xbox or PlayStation to tie that into the parental lock,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be the best way to
maybe
do
that
it.
would be a better way to
Mm.
to do it. But
Yeah.
what's to stop a kid from getting the parental lock taken
Right.
off? Or kids are smart nowadays.
Yeah, there was something that I was reading about that. I think it was a guy in Australia. I think it was 7-year-old got into his PayPal account
Oh lord,
and
I already hate where this is going.
spent $200 and something on loot boxes.
Jesus.
And it's like, well, yeah. Yet
Hmm.
Australia doesn't batter an eyelid about it. It's not an issue here. A lot of things aren't issues here. So
Yeah.
I know I've
Yeah.
read stories of kids playing Candy Crush or whatever, and the mom hands them the phone or whatever and says, "Here, shut up for a little while and play the game."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next thing they know, they get a phone bill that's like $3,000 because the kid like just hit,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
there's nothing they can do about it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it seems like we all hate loot boxes here. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last part of the EA drama is, and we did hint at this a while back, is that their stock prices have fallen. I mean, okay, when the initial article came out about stock prices falling, it wasn't too big of an issue. It was sitting around 2% or so, which had matched the daily downward trend of the market that day. But then end of November came around, so this is very recent news. EA stock was down 8% compared to the S&P 500's 2% gain or overall growth for the month of November. So that means there's an issue when you grow or decline against the S&P 500. So
Yep.
and a lot of people ran the
Yeah.
numbers. Looks like a little over $3 billion in stock value
3
was lost for
billion,
EA.
yeah, wow.
Yeah, which
Mm.
is 8% of their value.
Wow, yep.
Yeah, which I know. Oh, 8%, the same double-digit
Jeez.
percentage. That's. It may seem like, in a lot of ways, it's a lot of money, but in a lot of ways, it's also not too bad, because if you look at a corporation just as large as EA, then I don't want to say this is insignificant, but it's not like they're going to be declaring bankruptcy within the next month or anything.
Yep.
The biggest issue,
Yeah.
the biggest problem that this has is when EA is looking for more investors and they see this downward trend.
Mm.
But then again, to like people like you and me, like $3 billion is a
Right,
ton of
yeah.
money.
It's heaps, yeah.
Yeah, it's a ton of money.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I suppose to them it's no skin off their nose, really.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, which is a shame. I mean, it'd be good if they were taught a lesson,
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose they're not going to really do anything about it. So.
Right.
I guess the Disney boss had some choice words for EA regarding Battlefront 2 and everything, which apparently
Yeah.
impacted their decision to turn off
Yeah,
the
I
loot
heard
box
about that.
system. Whether or not there's
Yeah.
any credence to that, we'll probably never know, but it's kind of interesting to think about.
Who's the? I'm having a mind blank again. Who's the developer for Titanfall?
Respawn Entertainment.
A Respawn. That's it. I was going to say that. Have they?
Respawn, yeah.
Yeah. Have they made any like announcements or anything saying that they don't agree with what's going on, or because
No,
they're owned by EA now?
yeah, they were originally a affiliate with EA,
I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything.
but recently they got fully acquired, so we'll probably not see anything out of them. I can't imagine. I mean, Titanfall 2 and Titanfall 1, for what it's worth, were both incredibly fun games. The issue, I'd say, they never really retained a lot of players for whatever reason. I don't think anyone could really, in the community, could ever figure out why that was the case, but oh well. And, but anyway, they were both great games. I mean, Titanfall 2 single-player campaign was probably the best, like, FPS campaign I've played since Modern Warfare 2. And
Yeah, that was very solid.
yeah. And so hopefully Titanfall 3, because we all know it's down the pipe, is
Yep.
will not have any issues with loot boxes or anything.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, definitely.
Fingers crossed. But I'd imagine Respawn wouldn't have signed the contract to be acquired by EA, because I mean it did. I mean it would overall require 2 consenting parties to be acquired. And contract has to be signed for this. I can't imagine the guys over at Respawn would be would want to feel too restricted under a contract.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah, knowing the guys who run it, yeah, probably not.
For those of you
They
unaware,
kinda
the
like
guys that
having
run
their
Respawn
freedom.
is Vince Zampella, who was one of
Yeah.
the primary developers for COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2, which both launched the Call of Duty franchise into the state it is in today. Well, I mean, into the massive amount of growth and everything that it experienced. I don't think it's fair to say they're responsible for the poor games that have come out lately. But yeah, they eventually left Infinity Ward, founded Respawn Entertainment, and Titanfall 2 came out.
Yep.
So, knowing them and knowing some of the background drama that they had with Activision, with their contracts and everything, I really would imagine they're really careful about contracts now with big-name publishers.
Yep. Yeah, well, you'd hope.
Yeah, you'd hope, but you can never be so certain.
I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so any closing thoughts about EA? Have we said all that needs to be said about EA?
Do they need to get their act together? That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, it's like quit
They need to
screwing up.
Exactly, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else really on my part.
John?
On a business level, EA is doing what a business would do, especially if $3 billion is only 8% of their overall market value. I mean, what they're doing, like on a video game level, it's not great, but on a business level, they're doing what they feel like they need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it hard to stay mad at them, once cooler heads prevail, but we all know that like the gaming community is, they get hot and they stay hot,
right?
And they hold grudges. So
yes.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to take a look at your market and adjust accordingly.
Yeah. And that's the thing a lot of us forget, is that gaming is a business. I mean, it'd be awesome if they could just listen to the community and do what the community wanted, but yeah, I tend to forget that a lot.
Yeah, so moving on to the next topic. PC parts are super expensive right now, at least in some areas. From what I've gathered from you guys, it sounds like you don't really game on PC too much, but for someone like me, and I have to cater to this specific part of the audience who may be watching this, this is a topic really relevant to them, to their little niche here, is All right, so recently in 2017, we have seen the rise of cryptocurrencies jump into insane values. At the time of recording this, I checked just before we went on. Uh, Bitcoin, perhaps the most well-known cryptocurrency, worth about $10,500 right now
Yeah. Okay.
for a
Wow.
single Bitcoin. So that is a
Yep.
ton of money wrapped up in cryptocurrency. As a result, mining has become super, super popular again. So AMD graphics processing units have been not only was there a subsequent shortage, but they're also super expensive now because places are trying to get milk all they can for it. And the same with
Yep.
RAM, computer memory RAM,
Mm.
because people need it to have their raids go mine. And it's the thing that sucks about this is that this couldn't come at a worse time. I know a lot of people are going to be building PCs for the holidays, or at least work towards it. And if this were a year ago, and say you had about
Yeah.
$1,000 to spend, you're gonna have to gimp on some other places in your PC this year, just
Mm.
because of the inflated RAM prices. To give you an idea, about a year ago, 16 gigabytes of memory, which is considered mid-end for
Yep.
PC rates, is about 220 US dollars right now.
Okay.
A year ago, it was about 80.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Sounds
Yeah.
about right. Yeah.
yeah. So it is just, it's absolutely killing the market right now. And if you're looking to upgrade your PC or something, I'm really sorry that this is
Mm.
happening. Yeah. Any thoughts on this, just besides it sucks, or?
Yeah, well, it's not just for people building PCs, I suppose. It's for like people like I just bought a brand new PC 4 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to pay 1,200 here, which for that's just mid range, nothing massive.
Yeah.
But buying, I got that off eBay, and you're gonna have to watch out buying PCs. You're gonna have to, as you said, Taylor, you're gonna have to cut other areas to try and get something that's worthwhile,
Yeah.
which is a shame. I mean, as you said, 2 years ago or something, it was a lot cheaper. So it's a shame to see where it's going, and it's only going to probably get worse.
Right. It also doesn't help that there is a minor manufacturing shortage of some
Mm,
components, although those usually get ironed out within a couple months. So we
yep,
could have expected for a couple months to see the prices spike up
Right.
just a
Yeah.
little bit, but the fact that they've remained so high, even when the shortage is beginning to be solved, is
yep,
is an issue.
yep, definitely.
And this also has the power to impact consoles. That's the thing.
Mm,
If manufacturers of memory,
Yeah. True.
yeah, to say, hey, if I sell it to, I'm selling it to these PC guys over here for $200, yet with the contract with Microsoft or whatever, I'm only selling it here. What the hell gives?
yeah.
So, yeah, anyway,
Do
that's.
you have any thoughts on that, John, at all?
Uh. So I mean, I I know about PCs and that kind of stuff. I've
Mhm.
built a couple.
Yep.
Never for me. And about once a year, I probably like look to because I owe my wife. I build her a PC, so I start looking to be like, what do I need to save to do this? And I noticed this year it wasn't that easy, or
Hmm.
because I guess the what she wants is a Alienware, so I'm always like, I
Oh,
can build you one of those for
yeah.
much 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 cheaper.
Yep.
Uh, and so I showed her and had everything, and it was definitely a little bit closer this year than it was last year. Last time I looked up everything.
Hmm.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, mining cryptocurrency it is memory and resource intensive on a PC. Uh, so I could definitely see the prices adjusting accordingly depending on what like Bitcoin's price section is.
yep.
Uh, Again, business, supply and
Yeah.
demand.
Yeah.
Uh, More people need to buy memory, the higher a price that they can ask,
Hmm.
because they have to, have more.
Mm,
Uh, especially if there's a shortage going on already.
Yep.
Yeah.
That just would lead to a pretty painful price jump.
Do you
Yep.
think we'll see part manufacturers start to release components that are branded as being mining? Like, certain companies will release like gaming oriented graphics cards and everything as part of their branding. Do you ever think we'll see mining oriented components as part of branding? Anyone?
I mean, I would look at, whether, this price is a bubble. I mean, I think we're getting to the point where, cryptocurrency is has been around long enough that it can kind of be considered safe, if that makes
Yep.
sense. It's not just going to be something that uh, inflated in price, and then just disappeared overnight.
Right.
So, I mean, there might actually open up a business area or a manufacturing area that would be worthwhile to be like, hey, here's your like mining processors,
Yeah.
designed especially for
Mm-hmm.
what you
Yeah.
would need.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So the big hope is that
Whether it
they don't.
really is or not, and just a
Yeah, the big hope is that the prices
sorry,
don't
go
stay.
ahead.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. The big hope is that the prices don't stay as they are for the foreseeable future. That this is just a momentary bubble.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Any closing remarks on this one?
I would assume it is.
No, I would say I'm all good on that front. I'm not
Alright.
a massive PC person, so
Yeah.
yeah.
John, got anything else for us?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So, our closing topic, and it's more of an opinion piece, if anything, has Nintendo won this year in terms of, you look at the big three companies Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, right? Have they
Mm.
won this year? They had a tremendous success with the Switch, with Breath of the Wild, and now Mario Odyssey this season. Splatoon 2 released earlier this year. The only thing that we've
Yep.
really gotten from Microsoft and Sony is Microsoft got their Xbox One X out, which is, I guess, an upgraded variant of the Xbox One, and
Yep.
Sony released their PSVR.
Mm.
So, how's Nintendo looking?
I would say that this year, I would say that Nintendo's definitely won as far as their supported first party and all that.
Mhm.
Um, some people say that Microsoft's won and that the Xbox One X has won because of the console and the leap from technical capabilities of the PS4 and Switch and all that.
Yeah.
But as far as general gameplay and generalized games and support and all that, I would say that Nintendo's won. I'm not too sure how they're going to go next year. I suspect it's going to be a bit of a bad year for them because they're not massive third-party supporters. Xbox should have a pretty good year next year because they've got a lot to be released, as long as they keep it first-party and not just push everything over to PC or PS4. I think that should be a solid year for Xbox next year.
Okay. John? I think.
Uh,
Oh, never mind.
I don't know. I'm never comfortable with who won.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of internet problems, I think.
Oh, it's all right.
It's all good.
It's always difficult for me to uh, say who won a year or whatever. I mean, everybody. I think this was a good year for gaming.
Yep.
The PSVR came out and it was uh, well received. I mean, I would assume that like it's probably the more purchased VR machine. Uh, I Microsoft. I think Microsoft they had an all right year. I mean, Nintendo definitely had you know a great year.
Mm.
They the Switch, almost like the second coming of the Wii. Uh, with terms of how like hard it was to find for a good portion of the year.
Mm.
It and like it was front loaded with first party games. It's hard to think what maybe they have next year.
Hmm.
You might be right. It's a little early for another Zelda or another Mario or another Splatoon game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So uh, I
Metroid
wouldn't
Prime
think
4.
that they're what?
Metroid Prime 4, please.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would love to see it, but I don't know how much Nintendo, how much trust Nintendo has in Metroid or Star Fox, for that matter, uh, as of right now. Um, and those are like you know, the big, games that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, some weird games might come out. Maybe you'll have like a Fire Emblem. I'm sure there'll be a Pokemon game next year that'll, sell quite a few. But
Mm. Yep.
uh, I guess when it comes to winning this year, I always look at like Black Friday, and I definitely was standing in line at GameStop for on Thanksgiving night because my wife wanted Sims 4. Stood in line for 2.5 hours, and
Wow.
about 45 minutes in, somebody came out and said they were out of PlayStation 4s. So
Oh.
Awesome.
when it comes to you know things getting sold on Black Friday and the holidays, I think the PlayStation still has the lead in that section. I
Yep.
could be wrong. That's just one store, but it always seems like the holiday season PlayStation on their sales. Uh, I don't know if it's because they have such good sales during this time of the year or what kind of black magic they have, but uh, I think when you look at it at the end, I think probably Sony will be number one and Nintendo will probably be number two, uh, and Microsoft, who hasn't really done anything all year except for release a better console,
Mhm.
uh,
Mm.
that you know I think in the long run they might have a hard time selling to people that aren't like nerds like we are.
Right.
I
The more casual
I think
audience.
right, the more casual audience I think is going to look at the Xbox One X or the PlayStation or the PS4 Pro as like, well, that one's you might say that one's better, but that one's cheaper, and you say they play the same game, so
Mm.
little Timmy gets that one, and uh, at least Sony, like Microsoft seems to be like throwing their entire like weight behind it as like this is what's going to save us, and Sony was just kind of like, hey, we've got this thing if you want it, you don't
Yeah.
have to get it,
Yeah.
uh, just make things look a little nicer.
Yeah.
So I think if Microsoft was to push back into a like here's just an extra option,
Mm. Yep.
then I
Not
think
this is what you've got to have kind of thing.
right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, I think they probably misjudged the market a little bit,
Yep.
Okay.
uh, and I think you know Nintendo's just like in its own area.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nintendo is
Exactly.
going to do Nintendo things, and they're either going to sell a bunch or they're not going to sell a bunch, if
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I think.
Uh,
Yeah.
I know people who have a Switch as like their other console. They have a PlayStation or an Xbox, and then they have a Switch.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm.
I think that's where Nintendo probably will be for like the foreseeable future.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
So.
the way they position themselves. I don't think that they even so much mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was in March when the Switch released. I was there at midnight for the launch of the Switch to
Yep.
pick it up. Yeah, and I have absolutely zero regrets about it.
Nice.
Breath of the Wild was an incredible experience and playthrough.
Yep.
Every year, at least for the past 7 years when I really started caring, is that I didn't. Every year, there's always seems to be a video game that proves to me that video games are art, or at least
Yep.
reaffirms the belief, because I never really doubt that belief, so to speak. And Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
has been that game for me this year. For example, in 2016, I think Dark Souls 3 really made the case for that. But anyway, so I absolutely love the Switch. I think it's a great little system. You know, it
Yep.
was great to have on the plane ride the other day when I was traveling, stuff like that. And we mentioned that 2018 might not be
I
such a.
definitely want one.
It's definitely worth it.
So do I, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. In
Yeah.
2018, we mentioned, there's not a lot of first-party support for the Switch. It doesn't seem like, unless we get, as I kind of joked, Metroid Prime 4, which I don't think we'll see next year. We might get the Pokemon Switch game that we know is in development based on E3 this year. We might get that. Possibly a Star Fox title. I don't know what they'll do with it, but maybe a Star Fox title. And maybe if for whatever reason some dude at Nintendo is feeling really, really generous, we might get a reboot of F-Zero. I've heard some rumors about that. And the one thing that I think is indicative that's really good for Nintendo is that we're starting to see a lot of their branding everywhere. Like, for the love of God, we have Super Mario cereal right now. Do you know how
Yeah, I know.
do you know how incredible that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about next year for Nintendo. Really, not that like I don't own a Switch. I once they drop in price, I'll probably pick one up eventually. But as you said, first-party titles are looking a little bit thin next year, so it'll be interesting to see because Nintendo haven't had massive relationships with third-party developers or good relationships with third-party developers in the past, really.
No.
So yeah, I'll be interested to see if they change their approach and open up a little bit more to it.
I definitely think Sony is going to have a really explosive year next year.
They have definitely.
John?
Oh,
Yeah,
I was going to say
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
Switch. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm having some really bad internet.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was going to say
that.
about the Switch is they have had better third-party support. They, having Wolfenstein come out, Skyrim,
Snipper clips.
I think those are great. No, can't read my lips.
No, I said oh. I said snipper clips.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can
It's
hear
all
you.
good.
You got us?
Keep going. It's a little bit
I
late.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, as you were saying?
Oh, okay. But yeah, I think that's a good sign for third-party support is having some people be willing to put stuff on the Switch that are more gamer-minded.
Yep.
I mean, you may never see a Madden, you may never see like a Need for Speed or something on there, but I mean, Doom, Skyrim, Wolfenstein, Bethesda games are a good, thing to draw, people who probably would never look at another Nintendo system. It would be a good idea to like draw them in with those kind of dangling carrots.
Yep.
Instead of just being a Mario machine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So that about does it for today, guys. Unless anyone has anything else they'd like to add in, I think we're about ready to wrap it up here. So
Yeah, I'm all good.
yeah, final thing, just closing remarks, is that really quick, what games are you guys looking forward to coming out within the next 2 to 3 months?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I would probably say
Doesn't Dragon Ball Z come out in January?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would probably go with that. And also what's the pirate game that's coming out? I can't remember. I've got a really bad memory.
Is it
for the Xbox?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, like the co-op pirate game or whatever.
Yeah.
coming out.
Crackdown?
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that as well. Crackdown 3.
Sea of Thieves.
Okay. Oh yeah, Sea of Thieves, you got it.
That's the
Yeah.
one. Looking forward to Sea of Thieves, Crackdown, and probably Dragon Ball Z, I'd say, for next year.
Okay. John? Can you hear us?
I mean,
Okay, there you go.
Dragon Ball Z probably.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. All right, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is probably about the only one I know of that's coming.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna cheat this a little bit and say I'm not excited for a game necessarily. I'm excited for a patch for a game.
Okay.
EVE Online, another MMO that I play, is getting a
Yep.
patch later in January that's going to address some very long-standing issues that the community has had issues with. So definitely looking forward to that to maybe breathe some life back into the game.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, so this has been Culture of Gaming's multiplayer podcast, the co-pilot episode, kind of a sequel to the pilot episode. Me at least, I'm not too sure about these two guys, will be here next week at around the same time. So, say bye, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.